extraordinary development. The US has separated its position in NATO from Britain and France. Article 5 is inactive if you go to Ukraine, they say. I guess this is the first step of the US exiting from NATO. What do you think? They are not going to help the British and French troops if they are going against Russia and if Russia retaliates. So the US claims that it has separated its position in NATO from Britain and France. Article 5 is inactive if you go to Ukraine, they said. US Secretary of Defense Hegseth responded to the possibility of sending military forces from NATO members to Ukraine, clearly clarified that, quote, these actions do not meet the conditions for activating NATO's mutual defense clause, namely Article 5, end quote. In simple words, if they attack, we are not going to help you. If they attack you, we're not going to help you. That is, it leaves them completely hanging to carry out an action like the one in 1956 in Suez that ended with the Anglo-French fiasco and caused the political military descent of the Soviet Union in the Arab countries. Will France and Britain, after the separation of the American position, send peacekeeping, quote-unquote, forces to Ukraine? Something more than difficult. The two medium military power countries cannot support such a mission, especially against the will of Russia, noted American officials, because they simply do not have the military power that needs to be spent in such a campaign. The fact that Croatian President Zoran Milanovic stated yesterday in a statement that, quote, Croatian soldiers will not be sent to Ukraine, end quote, adding that this mission will never take place with or without Croatia because the basic conditions are not met, a peace agreement, and the consent of the other side, which unfortunately is Russia, Milanovic added. I think Italy and Hungary and others, of course, feel the same way. After all, a peacekeeping force, quote-unquote, is deployed in a region when both sides want it. One side cannot want peace and the other shoots. The issue of potential casualties is also extremely important. Let's also assume that an Iskander-M surface-to-surface missile hits a gathering of the coalition of the willing, quote-unquote, and causes victims. Then what will happen to Britain, France, Belgium, etc.? These countries have the social absorption capacity of such casualties? Question? No. And without the US, they are even more vulnerable to internal turmoil. A simple question arises. What will happen next? How will the willing, quote-unquote, react? This is also the reason why the Prime Minister of Greece, Mitsotakis, decided not to send, even symbolically, Greek forces as peacekeepers to Ukraine if Moscow does not accept such a thing. Without the umbrella of the US, there was no such possibility. Of course, US is siding with, Greece is siding with US, clearly. It's true that in the previous period of time, the British and French made aggressive statements as if they believed that they were in the era of the Crimean War, but they are wrong. For example, the NATO peacekeeping forces in Kosovo started with 48,000 troops in 1999, securing the area of 11,000 square kilometers, that's 4,000 square miles, according to a study by Major, while Ukraine is almost 55 times larger than this. And in Kosovo, they faced no one. In Ukraine, they will simply be wiped out. There's also the opposition view. Of course, Michael Kaufman, senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment, believes that, quote, it's enough to deploy 3 brigades, units of about 3,000 to 5,000 soldiers each, to secure the 4 to 5 sectors of the front where the fighting is concentrated. Of course, he's not talking about peacekeeping troops here, which in any case cannot be characterized as such, as we've said, since they will be attacked by one of the two parties involved. However, he adds that, quote, in order to have a rotation for rest and training, they would triple the number required to perhaps 50,000 troops without canceling all the existing requirements of the regional defense plan. But the force must have reserve battalions close to the front, not Western Ukraine, to do training. Will the Europeans have 50,000 combat troops in Ukraine? And will they be done away with on a daily basis at the rate of Ukrainians. That is 50 to 2,000 personnel per day. This is unthinkable. This is from Pro News. Please leave your comments about this. This is, of course, a hypothetical thing, but who knows what will happen tomorrow or in the next few months. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.